Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Say It Out Loud GG podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, but before we get into that, let's thank our sponsor, La Cienciani Styles, and Anointed Newsletter from Christopher Collins and Chris Collins himself here they're here. So thank you for sponsoring this program. Today we have a very special guest, Christopher Collins. Thank you for just accepting this invitation, for being part of this interview, right? To highlight you, to highlight what you do. So introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who Christopher is.
Thank you, Judith, for having me, inviting me today. And yes, I am here also on behalf of Anointed News Journal, which is a media company and newspaper company that my dad started almost about 30 years ago now. This is like the 30th year anniversary. And I've come on board in the last 5 years, and we do the business together. So I am from South Jersey, Camden County, and I graduated from Penn State in 2011. And since then, after my IT stint, I just got into entrepreneurship after that.
Entrepreneurship. But where is your passion? Because I know that you do videography and photography. So where did that passion come from? How did you know that that's something that you wanted to do, and how was it born?
The passion was that I wanted to do something entrepreneurship as late 2015. I was just going through a life change, just trying to figure out what I
Hmm.
wanted to do. And once I discovered Tai Lopez's 67 Steps to Health, Wealth, Love, Happiness, I had like a fire to do something. I felt like it was possible to become an entrepreneur and be successful at it. And the passion came with I've just always kind of skilled with not deep in the IT, but like
Hmm.
all the using all the softwares on computers and stuff, and really just the media. So the course I took was after this health, wealth, love, happiness course I took social media marketing. And from there, it was just with social media, you need flyers, you need short promo videos, things like that. And I also serve at the tech team at my church. So I had access to different cameras and
Oh,
things like that.
awesome.
When I started helping my dad with with the Anointed News Journal, he gave me a camera to go take at press
Hmm.
conferences to take photos. And from there, people started asking me, hey, can you take pictures for this and for that? So it was just a passion of like, wow, this is a skill people need, and I'm pretty good at it already naturally. And so that was just the passion of like, hey, I think I'm in my niche and I can
Yeah.
help people.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Because not only that, like your videos and your pictures tell somebody's story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a memory. It's a memory. And to me, after 2021, to me the importance of memory is so vivid in my life. Like I live my day every day making memories, and this is something that you capture like you do for people. And I just want to say thank you for all of them. Thank you for what you do, because for you it's like a passion of entrepreneurship, but there's a lot more that goes behind the scenes, because I
Mm-hmm.
could interview and you can answer a lot of questions, but I know that there's a lot more than what we actually say as entrepreneurs or we speak that goes into that. And I
Yeah.
know because that's how we met. I think it was in an AMA event, and you was
Yeah.
there, yeah, videographer, and I saw the work that you did. I don't know. I think I told you, didn't I? I stopped you and I'm like, oh my God, like you're amazing. Like you do. Like I saw you like just running. I'm like, oh, he is great. He's phenomenal. So I
Yeah, the
wanted to
event
just
you
say,
saw me at, we already had, I guess, we were on social media before that, but the event
yeah,
you saw
before
me at
that, yes.
was early 2024, or was it early 2023? Early 2024,
23. No,
23.
23. It was
Okay.
23. Yeah.
But Emilio's event, um where what I took on too much that day, and I was doing everything from photography, videography, I was doing the live stream, and I brought all the audio equipment.
and all the audio. But I thought
Yeah.
you was incredible, and you still nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, it
And you
was.
still nailed it. That's what I'm saying. The passion, like, like you express it, but when you see yourself or when somebody else sees you in action, it speaks for itself. And I just wanted to say that because I don't
Thank
think,
you.
we talk, but we don't get to,
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
these little details that are important, and for people to know that, the entrepreneurship journey is not an easy journey, but it's something that it's real, is very vivid. And when you see people just thriving in what they do, I like to just point it out and say, you do great. Okay.
Thank you.
So let's follow up that question with, what is the biggest challenge like you have faced, not only as a media, right? Just going into the media with Anointed, but also as an entrepreneur. Like, what is biggest challenge, and how have you faced it?
I think the biggest challenge, I feel like for me, it's just the belief that you can do it.
Mhm.
Like, so when I went to college and everything, I was preparing for, oh, I have a degree and that verifies me getting a job. And it didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to, even though I eventually found a job, but even that took 4 years.
Mhm.
So to then be like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and where's this going to come from? And you try a few things and it doesn't work. Like my first endeavor was making a children's book. And even though I had a decent amount of sales lifetime, maybe I sold 1,500 books, but still, it's not like I'm selling enough to live off of that.
Mhm.
So it was like I want to do all these things, but I'm balancing making money at my regular job, trying to get clients, and then getting the imposter syndrome of now I want to charge something, but I don't know if the work's going to be good enough, so I'm going to charge less. And then I spent a lot of hours doing it. It wasn't worth the money, but yet I knew the client was going to be satisfied. So it's always like a give and take,
Mhm.
ebb and flow of trying to figure out how to get clients. And then once you get them, what do I charge them? And is my work going to be good enough?
Mhm.
So that's been like the challenge of me balancing that. But I've overcome a lot of those doubts and things like that.
And yeah, absolutely. And I think that everybody goes through that. And I
Hmm.
want to say, anyone, all of the viewers seeing out there, we all go through that as entrepreneurs. I think one of the scariest thing is, yeah, are we going to deliver it how we're supposed to? Are we
Hmm.
not going to do that? And the fact that you have overcome that throughout time, right? Throughout practice, throughout every process you have gone through, I mean, is incredible. And you are definitely an example and someone to look up to know that this is real. It's real life. These are the stuff we go through. And um how, as a photographer and a videographer, how is it that you, when someone goes to you and they say, "Hey, Christopher, I would like you to, be the photographer and the videographer for my wedding." So, how is it, or what mindset are you in when it comes to now? Now you're not only throwing pictures, now you're creating a story about this
Hmm.
special moment for these people, right? And the pictures of this special moment. So, how is it that you go or program in your head to create these moments that are special? So what is
Um,
the process of that?
so firstly, I figure out what they want. Like the wedding that I did last, I think it was last May. Yeah, last May. It was like they told me they wanted like the first look when the bride and groom first see each other before the wedding. They wanted a highlight video. They wanted the speeches. So there was like certain things they wanted. And then a full videography of the wedding, like one full big video. So to get in the mindset, it's just really starting to study or lean on your experience. So for me personally, that was the first wedding I ever did.
Mhm.
So once we squared away that I was going to do it, I just went into research mode, researching where to put all the cameras for the wedding, because I did like a multi-angle setup. I hired a second shooter so that way I wouldn't be running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So I brought an assistant who was very helpful in getting the stuff that I couldn't get, or manning a camera that I needed him to do. And then, but the main thing was I came across a highlight video on YouTube of this marriage ceremony, but it was a highlight video, and it was almost like a mini movie. It was a 7-minute
Mhm.
thing, but it encompassed their whole wedding. And I was like, oh, if I could make this for them, that would be amazing. So I just kept studying it, seeing where they putting in the audio at when it's a different scene is going on, and just really turning it into a masterpiece. So I guess when I'm at the wedding, all of a sudden, just like athletes do, you just get into a mode where you're in the zone. At that point, it is what it is. Something might not be perfect. It's go time. Um, so so I just get into a zone of like I have to deliver for them.
Oh, wow.
Once I get through the wedding, it's like, whew, got through that, and then now is the editing phase, and it's like whenever I start the editing phase, I'm crossing my fingers, like I hope I got enough content, and now you're looking to see did stuff come out right, was something
Okay.
blurry, so it's kind of anxious when you start to pull up everything to see. But I made the mini movie highlight video, did all my deliverables, and they were raving about it. They were so happy. And I know the couple's mother-in-law, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Chris, you did an amazing job. We've already watched it like 15 times." Like,
Oh,
and
wow.
it feels
Yeah.
good when you hear that type of stuff from your clients, because the whole time you don't know if it's good or not. You don't know if they're going to ask you to redo it. You don't know if they're going to want a refund. So it's just like feels good when people are not only enjoying it, but they're like teary eyed.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's something that you get to do for people. So
yeah.
that job is really important because these are memories that are going to stay from generation to generation, right? We have pictures, we have not videos, but from, our great grandparents, like I have pictures of my great grandparents, and
Mm-hmm.
just to see those pictures, and this is something that you do that is important for a lot of people to keep, right? Everything, I mean, the generation changed because now it's more digital and stuff like that, but imagine like what, like a whole generation more, right, where we're not even alive, where they're seeing the work
Yeah.
that you created, that you did, that memory that you captured for that further generation down the line. And that
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. That's why I say that, like, when it comes to pictures and videos, I think it's just super important and what you do.
Thank you.
And I don't think people give you enough highlight, or photographers and videographers, they don't get enough highlight on that. They just think it's just a picture. No, when you look down the line that people are seeing these videos, get teary eye, there's emotion behind it. There is a
Mm-hmm.
reaction behind it that is super important, right? Because that's the things we keep, you know. So so how is it, or what advice would you give to any teen out there, or any person that is pursuing their passion, that is pursuing photography or videography? Like, what advice would you give them personally that you have gone through that people don't say out loud?
Well, I think, well, whatever I'm about to say, I feel like a lot of the cliches are cliches for a reason, because they work, and it's what a lot of people have discovered. But if I'm, if I was mentoring a teenager, giving them advice about, and they wanted to get into this field, I would just say, just, um, that's your passion, have a vision for it. And no matter what happens, no matter what direction life goes, that you keep that um, as your vision. Like, hey, I'm going to do this. Now, you might have a setback somewhere, but it's still like, hey, I'm going to do this. And maybe always make sure you're involved in some degree, even if it's lightly. So maybe you don't have any clients, maybe you don't even have a camera yet, but you continue to go on YouTube and study the best photographers and videographers and how you want to do things. That way, when the time comes, you're already prepared to a certain degree.
Mm.
It's always good to have a mentor. And I would say also find time to volunteer. A lot of my resources now and knowledge has come from me volunteering. When I didn't have a social media client, I volunteered to offer my services for free to an organization. And then
Wow.
that gave me experience. And then eventually I got paid from them. And it was able to let me show people a page of work that I've done to be like my portfolio. So I think there's always an opportunity around you. You just have to really like see it. You have to really notice it. I don't even want to say like look for it. Like you have to turn over rocks. Like it's right in front of you somewhere. You
Yeah.
just have to open your eyes. But I mean, I just stay with it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a solid advice because that is true. Because when we lose our vision or the vision that we want, we lose a lot of things. And that's why I always say my mission is bigger than me, right? It has to be bigger. What is your vision? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with this? What is it that you want to leave behind? And that's something that keeps me thriving. And that's a very solid advice. And before we close it up, I do have one last question. So I know that behind every person, there's always a strong foundation. Who is
Mhm.
that person to you?
Well, I guess my number one person in my life is my wife, and
Mm-hmm.
it's important that we support each other with
Mm-hmm.
our life goals. And obviously, when I first started and left my job, that was that was kind of like, what are you doing? But
Mm-hmm.
she's been supportive, and she trusts me to deliver. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, that's my most important person in my life.
Yes. So shout out to the wife because behind every strong man, there's a strong foundation there. There's a strong woman. So shout out to you. Shout out to the person, right? The husband that we have that we get to see every day, that we get to value. So, and how can anybody get in touch with you? Tell us your email, your social medias. So if anyone wants your service or wants orientation or what it is that you do or want to hire you, give us your information.
Yes. So right there on social media, Christopher Collins the second, Facebook, same thing, Instagram, Christopher Collins II is the handle. I have collins-digital.com, and then you can see my portfolio, and there's still a way to contact me on there, email or phone number.
Absolutely. So we'll write down all the details in the description. So go follow him on social media and everything. Thank you, Christopher Collins. Thank you for just being here, for the opportunity to just ask you questions and get get a little intake of what your world looks like, right? So thank you once again to our sponsor, La Cienciani Styles and Anointed Newsletter from Chris and Christopher Collins. Thank you for sponsoring this program. Until next time, guys, thank you.
Thank you for having me.